Picture this. The cameras are flashing. The red carpet is gleaming. And there she is, Paris Hilton, the woman who turned being famous into an art form. But behind that million-dollar smile, something is cracking. Something the world isn't supposed to see tonight. We're pulling back the curtain on one of Hollywood's most carefully crafted fairy tales. Because what happens when the princess realizes her castle might be built on sand? The whispers started small. A missed anniversary post. A solo appearance at a charity gala. Then the photos emerged. Paris, alone at Lax. No ring on her finger. No husband by her side. Just her, a designer handbag, and questions that no amount of money can answer. This is the story of a woman who spent decades building an empire, only to watch it shake when love entered the equation. But to understand where Paris Hilton is today, we need to go back. Way back. To a time when she was just a girl with big dreams and an even bigger inheritance. Born into luxury, Paris never knew struggle, the kind most people face. The Hilton name opened doors before she even learned to knock. Hotels, money, influence. It was all there, waiting for her like a perfectly wrapped gift. But here's what nobody talks about. Growing up, Hilton came with a price. Every mistake was front-page news. Every relationship was dissected. Every choice was judged by millions of strangers. "I just wanted to be loved," Paris once said in a rare moment of vulnerability. But I didn't know the difference between being loved and being watched. The early 2000s belonged to Paris. The simple life made her a household name. The pink, the chihuahuas. The "that's hot" catchphrase that launched 1,000 memes. She wasn't just famous, she was a phenomenon. Men fell at her feet. Rick Salomon, Stavros Niorsh, Benji Madden. Each relationship played out like a soap opera. Each breakup felt like a season finale, and Paris, or she was always the star of her own show. But fame is a hungry beast. It devours everything: your privacy, your authenticity, your ability to trust. And for Paris, it devoured something else too: her chance at normal love. Every guy I dated wanted something, a source close to Paris revealed. Fame, money, a piece of the Hilton empire. None of them wanted just her. The years passed, the relationships came and went. And somewhere along the way, Paris started building walls. Higher and higher. Until she was living in a fortress of her own making. Then came Carter Reum. He wasn't like the others. Successful in his own right. A venture capitalist with his own empire to protect. When they met at a party in 2019, something clicked. Not the usual spark of publicity. Something quieter. More real. "He saw me," Paris told friends. Not Paris Hilton, the brand. Just me. Their courtship was different too. More private. More genuine. For the first time in decades, Paris seemed to let her guard down. She posted pictures without makeup. Shared quiet moments instead of staged events. Love, it seemed, had finally found her. The proposal came in February 2021. A private beach. A massive diamond. And tears that, for once, weren't for the cameras. Paris said yes to more than just marriage. She said yes to vulnerability, to trust, to the possibility that fairy tales could come true. The wedding was everything you'd expect. From Paris Hilton, multiple designer dresses, a guest list that read like a Hollywood directory. Millions of dollars spent on a single day. But behind the glamour, something beautiful was happening. A woman who had spent her life performing was finally being herself. "I've never been happier," Paris whispered to her sister Nikki as she walked down the aisle. And for a moment, everyone believed it. The first year of marriage seemed golden. Instagram posts of couples' vacations, matching outfits, public declarations of love. Paris had found her prince. The story was complete. But fairy tales, as we all know, aren't real. The first crack appeared in late 2022, a missed anniversary post. Small, barely noticeable. But in the world of social media royalty, silence speaks volumes. Then came the separate appearances. Paris at a charity event in Miami. Carter at a business conference in New York. Both smiling, both successful. Both alone. They're just busy. Their representatives claimed, two successful people with demanding careers. The entertainment industry has a sixth sense for trouble, and the whispers started growing louder. A source at a Beverly Hills restaurant claimed they saw Paris dining alone. She looked sad, the witness said. Not angry, just ... empty. Like someone had turned off a light inside her. Another insider reported seeing Carter at a bar in Manhattan. He was with colleagues, but he kept checking his phone. Kept looking at the door like he was waiting for someone who never came. The distance wasn't just physical. Friends noticed changes in both of them. Paris, usually effusive about her husband on social media, became increasingly quiet about their relationship. Carter, once a fixture in her posts, seemed to disappear from her carefully curated digital world. Marriage is work, Paris said in a recent interview, her voice lacking its usual sparkle. Some days are harder than others. It was a simple statement. But coming from a woman who had built her career on making everything look effortless, it felt like a confession. The rumors exploded when paparazzi caught Paris leaving a Beverly Hills law office. Alone, dark sunglasses hiding her eyes. No ring on her finger. The photos went viral within hours. Divorce papers screamed the headlines. Paris Hilton's fairy tale ending. Her team quickly denied everything. Mrs. Reum was handling business matters, they stated. Any suggestion otherwise is completely false. But the damage was done. The speculation machine was in overdrive. Social media detectives analyzed every photo, every post, every public appearance, looking for clues like amateur investigators at a crime scene. The truth, as always, was more complicated than the headlines suggested. Sources close to the couple paint a picture of two people who love each other but are struggling to navigate the unique pressures of their position. Paris, used to controlling her narrative, found marriage required compromise. Carter, more private by nature, felt overwhelmed by the constant scrutiny. They're both strong personalities, reveals a family friend. In business, that's an asset. In marriage, it can be challenging. The pressure wasn't just internal. External forces were pulling at their union too. Business obligations kept them apart for weeks at a time. Family expectations weighed heavily on both their shoulders. And the media, always hungry for drama, turned every disagreement into a crisis. People don't realize what it's like, Paris confided to a close friend. Every argument becomes a headline. Every bad day becomes evidence that your marriage is failing. But here's what the rumor mill missed. The quiet moments. The late-night phone calls when they were apart. The small gestures that cameras never captured. Carter surprising Paris with her favorite flowers after a difficult day. Paris rearranging her entire schedule to support Carter at an important business presentation. These weren't the moments that made headlines, but they were the moments that mattered. They're fighters, says someone who knows them both well. They've built their careers by refusing to give up. They're applying that same determination to their marriage. The challenge for Paris and Carter isn't whether they love each other. It's whether love is enough to overcome the extraordinary circumstances of their lives. For Paris, this marriage represents more than just love. It's her chance at the one thing her money and fame couldn't buy. A normal life, a real partnership. A love story that exists beyond the cameras and the spotlight. For Carter, marrying Paris meant accepting that privacy would become a luxury. That every moment of their relationship would be subject to public scrutiny. That love would have to be strong enough to survive the hurricane of fame. Recent sightings suggest they're working on it. A quiet dinner in West Hollywood, holding hands, talking quietly, looking more like a couple reconnecting than one falling apart. They're in counseling, reveals an insider, not because their marriage is doomed, but because they're smart enough to get help before problems become insurmountable. It's a mature approach from two people who have spent their lives in the public eye. They understand that admitting you need help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. The question isn't whether Paris and Carter's marriage will survive. It's what survival looks like for two people living under such intense scrutiny. Maybe it means fewer public appearances together, more private time to reconnect. Perhaps it means setting boundaries with the media, creating space for their relationship to exist without constant analysis. Or maybe it means something else entirely. Maybe it means redefining what a successful marriage looks like when the world is watching your every move. Paris has spent her life defying expectations. She turned being an heiress into a business empire. She transformed reality TV fame into lasting success. She proved that behind the blonde hair and pink outfits was a sharp businesswoman with real ambitions. Now she faces her biggest challenge, yet proving that real love can survive in a fake world. That authentic connection can flourish under artificial lights. I'm not giving up, Paris posted recently alongside a photo of her and Carter from their wedding day. Love is worth fighting for. It was a simple message, but for those who know her story, it carried deeper meaning. This is a woman who has never backed down from a challenge, who has turned every setback into a comeback, who has spent decades proving that she's stronger than anyone expected. The rumors will continue. Speculation will persist. The cameras will keep flashing. But behind all the noise, two people are working to build something real, something lasting, something that can survive the extraordinary circumstances of their extraordinary lives. Whether they succeed isn't just about Paris and Carter. It's about whether authentic love can exist in an inauthentic world. Whether real relationships can flourish under false lights. Whether two people can find each other when millions of others are watching. The story is still being written. The final chapter hasn't been penned. And maybe that's exactly as it should be, because the best love stories aren't the ones with perfect endings. They're the ones where people choose each other again and again, despite the odds, despite the pressure, despite the world trying to pull them apart. Paris Hilton has spent her life in the spotlight. Now she's fighting for something that can only exist in the shadows. A love that's real. A marriage that's genuine. A partnership that's worth more than all the fame and money in the world. The question isn't whether their marriage is in trouble. The question is whether love is strong enough to overcome anything, even the glare of 1,000 cameras, even the weight of 1,000,000 expectations. Only time will tell. But if anyone can prove that fairy tales can come true, even in Hollywood, it might just be the girl who taught us that being famous was an art form. And now she's learning that being in love might be the greatest art of all. What do you think? Can Paris and Carter make it work? Have you ever had to fight for love under impossible circumstances? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood's most fascinating figures, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We've got so much more to uncover, because in a world full of headlines, sometimes the real story is the one nobody's telling.